Grab that paper. Right here. No.
It's on the stand?
Whatever. No, right here. Madison. Right here, the stand. Madison, there you go. Thanks, Dawn.
I'm so sorry that my mother's chicken took too long.
It's okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Did I scare you? Sorry. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, 1 week from tomorrow night, we will be leaving for Washington, D.C. and New York City. Now, are you excited? Okay, that's the kids' parents. I'm taking your kids away for 10 days. Are you excited? All right, that's what I like to hear, okay? Happy spring break to your parents, by the way. Okay? But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for coming out here tonight. This, of course, is our trip meeting to get all the general information that we can to you. Now, you should have gotten a little small cheat sheet right up here at the front, okay, that has just a few of the things that are on the PowerPoint. We're going to use a PowerPoint tonight because I think I can move quickly. Rather than giving you, 12, 13 pages, we're going to use PowerPoint, and I'm just going to email the PowerPoint tomorrow, okay, for those that are on whatever the email is that is on the trip thing. So, welcome to the meeting. We're going to move through this as quickly as possible. I will try to stop to answer questions as we go. But let's talk first of all what you can expect, okay, on the trip. Now let me just say this to start with. It is a long bus ride up there. We've got about a 20-hour bus ride, okay? So you need to mentally prepare yourself for that. Some other things that you can expect. Lots of walking, lots of stairs. You're going to find in Washington, D.C., everything is up the steps. I say that because you need to think about good, broken in, comfortable shoes, okay, and more than one pair of shoes. You can expect to be tired, exhausted. Let me just say this. This ain't vacation. This is a tour. You follow me? We're going to get up. We're going to see as much as we can see in 10 days. We're going to bring you back home, and then we're going to crash and rest. So when you got a chance to sleep on the bus, when you got a chance to sleep in your room, make sure you're sleeping and resting because you're going to need the energy and the strength. Okay, everybody with me on that? Going to get an amen? Okay, moving on. Here's the thing. You're going to see lots of cool sights. I call this the Been There, Seen That tour. And for most of you, many of you have never been to Washington, D.C., New York City. Where this trip is really going to be cool is when we come back and then you're watching TV and you're like, I've been to the Lincoln Memorial. That was really cool. Man, I've been in Times Square. I've been on Wall Street. I've seen that pole. Okay? The Been There, Seen That tour. We're going to take in and see just as much as we can in the 10 days that we are gone from school. So lots of cool sights you're going to see. You're going to have lots of fun, lots of laughs. I guarantee you that as well. Okay, anytime you take off a group of band students, there's going to be a lot of laughs. You're going to have some great memories. You're going to make some memories that you'll cherish for a lifetime. It's my 26th year as director of bands at Milton High School. When I came to the Milton High School band in the mid-'80s, we took a band trip every year. That was one of those things that we have continued to do because of the memories that are made and created on those trips. One of the most rewarding trips of your life, guys, we're going to our nation's capital. Many people in our country have never been to our nation's capital. We are going to New York City, the Big Apple. Same thing. A lot of folks have never been to the Big Apple. Any parents that aren't going, that have never been to these places? I'm just curious. Quite a few of us. Okay? So, something to think about. Think about this too. It's all in your attitude. Be flexible. Past experiences. Listen, I'm going to tell you this because, and I always tell you this, don't sweat the small stuff. There will be times you're tired. There will be things that are beyond your control. Don't sweat the small stuff. And I say that, I always share the story of a little color guard girl. I remember her by name, and I see her every once in a while in town, but I'm not going to call her name out. But I'll never forget the day we got on the bus, her boyfriend broke up with her. Her boyfriend wasn't invading. He showed up and said, we're done, I'm done with you. Okay? That little girl, we went to Texas that year, that little girl cried the whole trip. There are some things, and I kept saying, stop. Don't worry. Look at all these other boys that are on the trip with you. Don't worry. Okay? So I say that because you're going to need to be flexible. And guys, you pay good money to go on this trip. Make sure that you don't let things beyond your control keep you from having a good time. You with me on that? There's some things that we just have to push through and enjoy ourselves while we're gone. All right, so next up, Mr. Schultz. Okay? Now, as you are all aware, we are going with Group Travel Network. And our tour director is Miss Lisa Scalzo. Miss Lisa had a chance to meet her back in January. Of course, we talked many times on the phone, but she was at the Florida Music Educators Conference that we went to in Tampa. We had a chance to spend some time to get to know her. But she's going to, here in just a moment, whenever we get connected, go ahead. She wants to meet you guys. She is, she'll tell you a little bit more about herself, but she is beaming in here live from, I think, a softball game. Yeah, softball game in Orlando. I asked her, she's had the flu. She just got over the flu. There we go. So you're live. Hold on, we got to get you attached to sound. Hold on.
Hello? You got it? Awesome. Hey everybody, how are you guys tonight? I'm so sorry I can't be there in person, but this is the next best thing. You really wouldn't want me in person anyway right now. But I am super, super excited and can't wait to spend, I get to meet you guys. I don't do the bus ride in DC, or to DC, but I'll be meeting you in DC, and I will escort you throughout the whole DC and New York portion of the trip, and I'll ride up to New York with you, and we're going to have a great time. We worked really hard to get this trip to just be, like Mr. Weaver said, you know, it's just going to be a lifetime of memories for you in 10 days. And they're going to be memories that you're going to want to tell about and talk about for the rest of your life, and then repeat them down the road with your kids and such. So we're really looking forward to it. We're going to have a great time. I'm going to be there to take care of trip stuff and everything. And Mr. Weaver and the chaperones are going to take care of you guys. And we're going to have a great time. I'm going to learn a lot about you. You're going to learn a lot about softball and grandkids and all that stuff. So we're going to have fun. We're going to eat a lot of good food and come back with some great stories. So look forward to seeing you guys in, 8 days, 10 days?
8 days, yeah.
So, and we'll all be freezing together. So, because I'm cold too. So,
All right.
Anyway, look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Lisa. Y'all say bye, Lisa.
Bye, Lisa!
She's going to listen in, but you won't see her on the screen here in just a moment. So we switch it back over here. All right, so that is Lisa. Lisa will be with us, and she said she will meet us in DC. She will be with us 24/7, doing all the behind-the-scenes work. Guys, can I tell you something? This is going to be glorious, because this will only be the second time in the 25 trips I've taken where I'm not having to do that stuff, or Mr. Schultz isn't. Okay, we're going to get to take care of kids, have a good time with the kids. As you see up there, she's taking groups from 25 to 1,200 fifth graders, right, Lisa? Yeah, fifth graders, 1,200 fifth graders. She'll have to, those of us on trip, she'll have to share that story. It's an incredible story of them shutting down rest areas to feed 1,200 students, all this type of stuff. So anyway, but that's Lisa. Okay, now, let me tell you this, because we talked about this before. We had to do some of this stuff on the cruise and different things. This isn't an official school function or school board approved trip. I had a conversation back in the fall with Mr. Short, with Mr. Weeks, our director of high schools, and since we are going through Group Travel Network, all the payments are through them, all the planning, we fall under their policies, their procedures. This helped us in that we don't have to jump through all the hoops that are out there, okay? Which is a good thing, I'm just gonna tell you, okay? The only negative is that we have to take personal leave for the next Thursday and Friday that we're missing, okay? But our students, prearranged absences. We can't get this excuse as a school function. When we go to Europe with students as well, they don't approve those trips. Same thing happened when the van goes on the cruise. They want to approve the cruise because it's out of the country. We have to do it in an outside source. We will take care of the prearranged absences. I've already talked to the office. You won't need to do anything, students. You won't even have to take the slips around the student services. I'm going to give them the list. They're going to pre-approve or prearrange that absence in the computer for you. Okay, does everybody understand that? Okay, but I do want you to be aware of that, because again, I had a conversation with Mr. Weeks about a month ago, and he said, if you got this through the outside source, stick with the outside source. Let's not get the school district involved. Okay, so I want you to be aware of that. Something else as we get started, I want you to be aware of. I know there are concerns. I expected to have questions tonight. I will let you know, as it says up here, we are closely monitoring information concerning the coronavirus. We're monitoring the Center for Disease Control. We are also keeping track of local authorities we will make good judgment calls the best that we can based on information that we are given. We will communicate with you if anything changes, but recommendations, even without the coronavirus, just with the flu, some things off the CDC site, okay, is wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. As I saw on Facebook, wash your hands as though you've been eating crawfish and you gotta take your contacts out. Wash them for a long period of time, okay? Get the germs off. Number one, use soap, use alcohol-based hand sanitizers. Cough and sneeze into your elbows or tissues. Don't cough and sneeze in your hands, but you're gonna touch things with your hands, okay? Came straight off the CDC website. You blow your nose with tissues, dispose of them immediately, don't carry them around and keep blowing your nose around. Number three, limit touching your face and mouth. Next bullet, don't eat or drink after each other, okay? Avoid contact with anyone exhibiting cold-like symptoms. We got somebody comes down with an illness or cold, we will get them medical attention, we will separate them the best we can from the group, okay? Frequently clean surfaces, regularly touch. We're working on getting some wipes, some Clorox wipes, that type of stuff. So on the buses and so forth, we'll try to wipe stuff down. I want you to know that we're conscious of everything. We're keeping an eye on you. With me on that? That's the best I can answer any questions about that at this point in time. And of course, also, I encourage you to talk to your children about their concerns according to the CDC. They've recommended that as well. So, what I want to do is break this thing down. We're going to talk about the buses, we're going to talk about the hotels, we're going to talk about the meals, the attractions, and then we're going to go through the itinerary that is up here. So charter bus, we will be going with Gulf Coast Tours out of Mobile. Their buses are all 2016 or newer. Another reason I like using them because they keep a fresh fleet of buses. I have been on, and some of you have been on those trips where you got a bus, you know, from 1972, and the air conditioner keeps breaking down, and they have to keep stopping. You know, or worse yet, the TVs. Gosh, I hated the TVs when they came out because you'd have to meet on the side of the box, try to get the TV to come back on. All right. They are 56 passenger buses. We have 110 seats, 87 attendees that are going. I'm sorry, 112 seats. 2 students per seat. In most all situations, the adults that are going will have a set of seats to themselves because we're older and our hips break and that kind of stuff. Okay. Also, I would encourage blankets. Guys, it is easier for us to keep the buses cold than to keep them hot. Because if you're on a bus and it is hot, we have a lot more problems with folks getting travel sick, car sickness, okay? Helps keep the germs down, and you don't want me having to strip down to get COVID. Okay, you with me? So just know that I will always ask the bus drivers to keep them on the cooler side because you can cover up or put your jackets on and so forth just to help make sure we don't have people that get sick and so forth on the bus, okay, from being, you know, the car sickness. All right? Snacks and drinks are highly encouraged. Okay? I encourage you to have food and stuff on the buses. Now, in that, no cans or no drinks that can spill. Always make sure it has a cap and like a bottle, the plastic bottles. I would not recommend cans. Why? Because you open that can, you drink half of it, you get sleepy, you set it on the floor, next thing you know, that can gets tipped over, the floors are sticky the rest of the trip. Or at least until they can get the buses clean. Okay, so please, no cans, no glass containers as well on that. But we'll bring plenty, bring enough to share. Guys, on our long trips, we will stop about every 3 to 4 hours to allow everyone to get off the bus, usually at a truck stop or a rest area. Allow you to get off the bus, use the restroom, stretch, and just do a little bit of walking around, get some fresh air. Okay, it's a long haul, but again, we usually stop for 20, 30 minutes, let everybody kind of get off the bus and you know, stretch themselves out a little bit. The buses do come with Wi-Fi, however, we're going to tell you, it's just easier to use your data because usually about 2 people can connect, and it's super slow, it's just a hotspot, that's all it is. They do have power outlets, hello? Each seat has power outlets, hello? Okay, so you want your chargers and so forth on the bus. They have direct TV, movies. I have learned in the past that used to be a big thing. Movies were a big thing on the buses, but now with everybody having their own Netflix and Hulu and so forth, we don't usually show a whole lot of movies on the buses anymore. Okay? Because you show the movie on the bus and even the people that are sleeping are having to hear how loud it is coming through the speakers so people can hear it on the bus. All right? So we probably won't do a lot with the movies. We may have a movie or 2 every once in a while when everybody's awake. They are restroom equipped. Those restrooms are on the bus. In the event that you have, I would say, an urgency or emergency, okay? I wouldn't recommend necessarily using them every chance you get, but if we're on the road and you know we've only been on about an hour, we got a couple hours to go, and you got to use it, it's there for you to use. You follow me on that? But if we use those as our primary bathrooms the whole time, they're gonna start stinking pretty soon before we get there. Okay, but again, they are there if it's urgent or an emergency. Please understand that. Okay, bus assignments. Mr. Schultz, you want to say anything about bus assignments? We just put that up?
Yeah, just put that up. All the parents that are going on the trip, I've already put you on the list. You can check out which bus you're on the door here. Students are going to start signing up by seniority starting tomorrow, and then that's the seniors and leaders tomorrow. We have the juniors on Thursday, sophomores on Friday, and freshmen on Monday.
That would give us Tuesday to kind of finalize the bus list and balance it out, make sure everything's
When
good.
you sign up, students, when you sign up, where you sign up is exactly where you're going to sit. So make sure you take a look at that very carefully.
Cool? Any questions about bus assignments? All right, that's our buses. Let's talk about bus etiquette guidelines, okay? That's why we want parents here. I want you to know what the expectations are. First of all, public display of affection. Now, here's my general rule, okay? We're going to trust you unless you give us reason not to trust you. Now, again, once I hear that first inkling that so-and-so and so-and-so, then it is within our right, our authority to separate you to where you don't sit together and maybe put you on separate buses. Okay? Now, what do I mean by PDA? You know, if you're leaned up against each other with a pillow in between you, I'm probably not going to say anything, as long as there's a pillow between you. If you're in the seat like this, no. Hello, you follow me? Okay? No. All right? Heads touching, that's probably going to be okay if you're sleeping. Not if your lips are touching, no. Okay? Pillow between you, not going to say much. Listen, and I say this, we're going to be on those buses a long time. I want you to understand that. There are going to be people sleeping on the floor, in the seats, and the rafters, wherever you can find to get comfortable. It just happens that way. Okay? But PDA, remember the rules, hold hands. That's about it. Leaning against each other, we're going to be okay. Not hugging all over each other, anything like that. We will separate you if we need to. Moving on. Sleeping arrangements, I just said, wherever you can get comfortable on that bus. Now, the bus drivers may have some safety concerns. I will say this, that we need to be able to keep the aisle somewhat clear so that we can get to someone in near the front needs to get to the restroom in the event of an emergency. They can, but I know that folks will be sleeping where they can find somewhere to sleep. Okay? You need to be thinking about that. You know, there's some of those travel pillows, different things that you blow up and you put your arms in and you put your head forward. All that, you know, all that kind of stuff is out there. You can order that stuff, you can find that stuff in stores. Food and drinks, I told you earlier, I encourage it. Again, we need to make sure though that we don't have spills on the bus. Trash, no spills. We will have garbage bags up and down throughout the bus. Please utilize the garbage bags. When we stop at rest areas, if bus captains and leadership, if you see they're getting full, let's pull them, we'll have more in the front, okay? It's our area, we're gonna live on those buses for a while. Let's make sure we keep them nice and neat. Moving on, electronic devices, please use headphones. Nobody won't listen to your video game. Nobody won't listen to your jam on your phone, okay? Make sure we're using headphones, make sure we're being courteous to people around us by not making them listen to that stuff. Restrooms, again, are on board for emergencies. Be respectful of others, tiredness and weariness. Guys, we're gonna be tired, we're gonna be weary. Let's make sure we're respectful of each other. You know, the person across from you sleeping, don't be sticking your dirty socks in their face and messing with them. There's gonna be a time where you gotta sleep too. Okay? So think about that. There's gonna be times that you're gonna get on each other's nerves. It just happens. It's a band trip. All right? Remember that we're all tired. We're all working through this. So just some bus etiquette guidelines. Quiet time on buses as we're traveling, especially that first night going, on the night, overnight coming back, that we will have quiet time on the buses. And that we will ask that the buses remain quiet. There'll be other times during the day that there'll be talking going on and laughing and that kind of stuff. But if chaperones in the front, the directors say, bus quiet, let's all go to sleep. We need the bus stay quiet. You don't necessarily have to go to sleep. Put your headphones in, find something to occupy your time. Okay, y'all follow me on that? Moving on. Restaurant etiquette. We have expectations too. I don't think we're eating at a seafood buffet, but that was the best picture I could find on Google. Okay? At restaurants. Now, there's going to be 87 of us. Be patient. Be patient. Now, I have had trips we take 160 plus. Okay? Won't be that as bad as that. But still, when you're going to some of these restaurants, you just need to be patient. Sometimes when they show up, we may have to wait at the door for 5 or 10 minutes. Okay? Just be patient. Occupy your time. Find something productive to do or sleep. Okay? Be flexible. We may say, okay, we're sitting over here. No, wait, we gotta go over here and sit. They moved us. Okay? Be flexible. They'll be like, well, I got my seat right here. Be flexible. Be polite and appreciative. Remember, these wait staff that are in these restaurants are busting it, trying to serve you, get you what you need. Okay? So make sure we're polite and appreciative. And our kids and folks are always great at this, but we always want to make sure we remind ourselves of this. Be considerate of other guests. We won't be the only people in these restaurants. Make sure we're considerate of those folks as well. You know, we're all lined up for the buffet, and you know, a little 78-year-old man, a woman walk up there. Let them go. We're gonna make sure you eat before we go. You with me? You follow me? Be considerate of those other guests. Don't waste food. Don't be building mountains of mashed potatoes where it Golden Corral or wherever. Okay? Don't waste it. Eat what you get. I know you may have a little bit because you're like, oh, I didn't like that. But I have watched them pass and got on the kids for trying to see what they can build in the middle of the table. Okay? Don't do that. And buffets, I'm going to recommend this. Now, we may get there and they may say something different. What I've always seen that's kind of gets everything mixed up. We show up to a buffet, kids go in there, they order their Coke, their tea, their Sprite, and then they run to the buffet, and then the waitress or waiter comes back and they've got 25 drinks. And there's nobody there. And they're like, what do I do with all these drinks? And so they walk away with drinks. Kids go back, I ain't got my drink yet. I would recommend wait for your drink to get there, kind of hold your spot. That way when the waiter or waitress comes back, unless they say, y'all go ahead, I've got you, go ahead to the buffet. If they tell you, then go to the buffet. But don't just be like, I want a Coke. Okay? Because chances are you're never going to get that Coke until you're done. You follow me? All right. Again, life lessons learned. Leave places cleaner than we found them. Okay? That's important to me. That we kind of clean. You guys, the band knows that. We preach that. We go to CC's and Russ. Clean up after ourselves. And strive for compliments from other patrons. Here's what I always love. It always happens. And guys, if you could be at the front of the bus, when there's 2 charter buses or 3 charter buses that pull in at a restaurant, and you see the people going in, you see them go. Oh no. And then they see us teenagers getting off the bus, and they're like, oh crap. Do we really want to eat here? Well, we just paid. Okay? Some of the greatest compliments we get are folks go, I'm going to tell you, I was really stressed when I saw you all pull in, but what a great group of young people. They were polite, you know, they minded their manners, they were clean. So just let's strive for that. We always keep track, don't we, Mr. Schultz, how many compliments we get in the trip, and we'll convey those as we go. All right, but that's one of the greatest compliments, kind of a tradition that we have here at Milton High School, is to make sure that we strive for those compliments. So they go, man, that was an awesome high school group. Where y'all from? And we go, Milton. Okay? If we're bad, we'll say Pace. Okay? But anyway, so restaurant etiquette and guidelines. Now, let's talk about the meals. We talked about buses. We're talking about food. Okay? Let's talk about what's included in the cost of the trip. If you notice, you've got about 2 meals per day included until we get near the end of the trip. Day 1, we're going to stop at Golden Corral in Gastonia, North Carolina. That is included in the trip. Okay? We'll have the breakfast buffet to kick us off that morning. We get to the hotel that night, you're going to be exhausted. We did this the last time we went. We're simply ordering pizza at the hotel. We'll talk about that a little bit later. They've got the banquet room reserved. You'll go to your room. You'll freshen up. You've been on the bus for almost 24 hours. Okay? Go to your room, take a shower, come back down, eat some pizza, and go back to your room and rest and ready for Washington, D.C. So 2 meals on day 1. Day 2, every morning at our hotel, there is a breakfast buffet. Okay? So you can see breakfast at the hotel. You can see at our DC hotel, we got scrambled eggs, bacon or sausage, fresh muffins, breakfast pastries, croissants, fresh melons, seasonal berries, bananas, seasonal fruit, chilled juices, skim milk, coffee, assorted teas. If you can't eat anything like that, you need to bring something. Okay? Notice that night we have the dinner buffet at Chevy's Fresh Mex, which you can see is beef, chicken, tortillas, beans, Mexican rice, shredded cheese, lettuce, sour cream, pico de gallo, vanilla ice cream, soft drinks, coffee, and tea. So it's sort of a Mexican buffet, all you can eat. Okay? That is on day 2. Day 3, breakfast at the hotel. Then we're eating a family-style dinner at Buca di Beppo, which is Italian. Mixed green salad, Caesar salad, spaghetti marinara, fettuccine alfredo, chicken parmesan, cheesecake, soft drinks, coffee, and tea. Again, that is family-style, which means they bring big dishes out to the table and you share. Okay? Day 4, our last day in Washington, D.C. Again, the breakfast at the hotel. That day we'll have a lunch buffet at Harriet's. Tall screen salad, cheeseburgers, veggie burgers, mac and cheese, french fries, chicken tenders, cookies, and soft drinks. Now I will tell you this because as Lisa said, make sure they understand Harriet's, and I think I ate with a man at Harriet's 12 or 16 years ago on the trip a long time ago when we went. Harriet's is sort of a restaurant that was stuck back in time. It is downtown DC, not far from the National Mall, but you're going to walk in, there's going to be like, as Lisa said, you know, a poster of Christy Brinkley, that, you know, back when she was a model, and different things like that, okay? It's not anything fancy. It is downtown, close to Pennsylvania Avenue, close to National Mall, okay, kind of around the Federal Triangle area. But, you know, she just wanted you to understand that it's kind of a kickback in time kind of place, all right? So 2 meals on day 4. Let's move on to New York City. Day 5. You're at a new hotel. That breakfast buffet: eggs, sausage or bacon, waffles, cinnamon buns, bagels, yogurt, cereals, juices, skim milk, coffee, and tea. You will have that breakfast every day that we're in the Times Square, New York City hotel. Okay? Notice on day 5, we've got dinner that night at Hard Rock. They're in Times Square. You'll have a choice: a burger with fries, veggie burger with fries, pulled pork sandwich with fries, twisted mac and cheese with grilled chicken, chicken tenders with fries, or chicken Caesar salad. So once we get there that night, you will kind of place your order from their limited menu for the group. Okay? Day 6, that is our cast party dinner at Roland's. For those that don't know, on day 6, we're going to see Phantom of the Opera. That is where we're going to go, and some of the cast member orchestra members, probably not the leads, but some of the others, are going to come to the restaurant with us. They're going to walk around, share stories and stage anecdotes, and take pictures and that type of stuff before we walk over after we get done with it to see Phantom of the Opera. Those are cast party. You have already ordered your meal. You did that through the Google Doc about a month ago. You either ordered the cheeseburger meal or the pasta meal. Okay? So we've got a list of that if you don't remember. Then notice on day 7 and day 8, we just have breakfast at the hotel. Now I told you all that because I want you to know how many meals you need to buy. And I'm going to show you that. Understand, listen, you can look at Gray Weaver and tell that Gray Weaver likes to eat, right? I always hate the part when parents go, so what, how much money do I need to send? Because I don't know, because Gray Weaver eats a lot. And when I go, I need money to eat them. That's where all my money's going to go, okay? So, I'm going to kind of show you the meals that you got to pay for. On our first day, we're going to stop at the mall. And by the way, again, I'm going to send you this email I'm going to send you this PowerPoint via email. We're going to stop at Chesterfield Town Center Mall, which is in Richmond, Virginia. You can see the places they have there: Auntie Annie's, Basil Thai Kitchen, Carrabba's, Casa del Barco, Chick-fil-A, China Max, Cinemonster, Five Guys, Great Fun Job, Honolulu Barbecue. You can see all those listed. Okay? You'll have about an hour and 15 minutes to get off, go into the food court, stretch legs, eat. Lunch that day, I figure $10 to $15 estimate. Now, some of your kids make it eat on $6. I don't know. It takes about 15 for me. Okay? You with me? Because I got a large Sprite, large Coke, and hey, you know, that cookie looks good too. Okay? Day 2, we're going to eat lunch at the National Place, which is like a food court just about a block away from the White House. Okay? And you can see there's a few fast food type places there. Okay? The Sprinto Cafe, Five Guys Grill, Kebab, Kabuki, Sushi, Teriyaki, Moe's Southwest Grill, Slice of Italy Pizzeria, Taqueria, Korean Taco Grill. That's hard to say. Okay? $10 to $15 estimated there. Day 3, you're going to need to eat lunch at the Smithsonian Museum, or the cafeterias there, or the food courts, or sometimes there are outside food trucks, hot dog stands, that kind of stuff when you're on the National Mall. There's one area in particular across National Mall where I was reading online the other day where there are food trucks. Okay? In that you can see some of the food courts, the American History Museum. See, it has Eat at America's Table, has Jazz Cafe, hopefully you can see burgers, barbecue sandwiches. The Natural History Museum has the Atrium Cafe and the Ocean Terrace Cafe. Air and Space, right now the food court is very limited because the food court there is under renovation. There may be 1 or 2 open at the Air and Space. If not, you need to walk to a food truck. One of the other places, the new African American Museum that is up there has a place called Sweet Home Cafe that just says down home cooking. Okay? So, need to be thinking about your meal that day. Again, I'm estimating $10 to $15. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, if you'll notice on day 4, dinner in Times Square. Okay? We get there that night, they're going to have dinner. We'll go down to Times Square and everybody will split in smaller groups and have dinner. Let me say this to start with. Ladies and gentlemen, do not eat at chain restaurants while you are in New York City. Listen, you're going to walk in Times Square and the Olive Garden's going to pop you in the face. There's a big green sign that says Olive Garden. Now, if you are simply craving Olive Garden, go ahead, you're gonna pay about $10 to $12 more per entree than you will in Pensacola, and it's gonna taste exactly the same. You hear me? I encourage you to try the local things. That's why you're there. You can get Olive Garden every time you go to Pensacola. Okay? I gave you some over here on Monday. On Monday, when we meet with the students, this is some of the things we're going to talk about. But just to name some, Shake Shack has burgers. Z and Famous Foods has homemade Chinese noodles. All these places are right around Times Square. Gray Papaya, they're all over New York City. They're a famous hot dog place up there. The Halal guys, they're like food trucks. They have Middle Eastern little food carts. You'll smell them. They smell delicious. Okay? Juniors has deli sandwiches, and they are known for their famous cheesesteak about 1 block off the center of Times Square. Okay? They've got about over 25 different flavors of cheesecake. Okay? That's what they're known for. John's Pizzeria, right there, closed right across the street from the Opera. Okay? Known for their pizza. That's one of our favorite pizza places. We've got several of those there in New York City. And Carmine's, which is about a block off, is a great Italian place. I would say go to Carmine's before you go to Olive Garden. Okay? But I figured that night $15 to $30 estimated. Okay? So just kind of again giving you ballpark figures. Look at day 5. You'll need lunch in downtown Manhattan. Notice on day 5, day 6, day 7. Okay? Day 5 and 6 in particular lunch in New York City. I would recommend eating at the local restaurants, the delis, New York style deli. You need to try New York style deli while you're there. Okay? The food carts, the hot dog carts, different things up and down the street, food trucks, or some of the unique fast food places like I shared with you, like the hot dog place. Do what? Soup Man, different things like that. Okay? Be thinking about that. But you got 2 lunches, day 5, day 6. On day 7, you got lunch and dinner. Okay, well, that's the night we're not feeding you dinner. All right, so you and your small touring teams want to do lunch and dinner. And then day 8 on the road home, we'll do fast food, mall food courts. So you'll need lunch and dinner because we're going to be traveling straight back all day that day. We'll stop, let you eat lunch, drive a while, stop in the bathroom, drive a while, stop, eat dinner, and so forth. Okay? I figured $20 to $30 at the food courts. And all that. And again, this is a ballpark. You and your child need to kind of figure this out. I said $125 to $195. 5 food court style meals, 3 New York City lunches, 2 New York City dinners. So $125 to $195. That's an estimation. Everybody follow me? Okay? Your child may eat more than that if you'll work that out. Souvenirs, again, just estimating what I would give mine. Needed for snacks and souvenirs. And you understand, snacks is that's the meal that takes place between meals, right? Everybody gets that? Like, yeah, that popcorn smells really good. Hey, I didn't cook with that popcorn. Okay? So, on that, 8 days, about 12 to 25 a person, probably, depending on how little or how much your child does that, anywhere between $100 and $200. Okay? So, see those again, 125 to 195, 100, 200. Again, I will email you this information. Did I put that on the little cheat sheet? I think I did. Okay? So, hotels. Let's talk about our hotels. Hotel etiquette and expectations for students. First of all, when you're in the hallways, always be quiet. Don't be running up down the hallway screaming. There may be people, it may be 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but there may be people that are trying to rest. Again, let's leave that reputation that, man, that was an awesome teenage group. Okay? Don't hang out in the hallways or the stairwells. Hang out in the lobby area and so forth. Be courteous to other guests. There may be times that we come in late at night. For example, the night we do our nighttime monuments tour of DC, and we go, okay, guys, we need to come in stealth mode. Last time, the hotel was like super impressed because the manager called, and I'll never forget, we were out seeing the monuments like 10:30. Said, my phone rang and said, Mr. Weaver, are y'all okay? I said, yeah, man, we're at the Lincoln Memorial. It's gorgeous tonight. And okay, what time will y'all be in? I said, probably about midnight. Okay, and he's like, oh, really? And I said, we'll be fine. So I said, I promise you. And we went in stealth mode. And the kids were like, whisper soft. The people at the front desk were like, because here were 100 people coming in not making a sound. Okay? So just we say stealth mode, impress people. You with me? Be like the Navy SEALs. Okay? Never, ever is a boy allowed in a girl's room, a girl allowed in a boy's room for anything. You hear me? Let me say it again. You are not allowed in rooms of members of the opposite sex. Gentlemen, if you got to get a set of headphones or something back from the young lady, knock on the door, take a step back, and go, yeah, we tell Susie I need my headphones. Okay? Last thing we need, even with the door propped open, last thing we need is for one of us to come walking down the hall and we see a boy walking out of a girl's room or girls walking out of a boy's room. That will get you in trouble in a heartbeat. You wanna know what happens when that happens, when we do that kind of stuff? Chaperone arrest. That means you sleep on the floor of one of our rooms. That means you follow us around. If we go to the bathroom, you stand outside the stall, you get put on chaperone arrest. You follow me? Again, image is everything, okay? Image is everything. No boys in boys' room, or no boys in girls' rooms, no girls in boys' rooms. Sorry. Trying to talk fast. Each night, we will have curfews. We get to the hotel, each night we will have room checks. Our leadership does our room checks. They report back usually to Mr. Schultz. They will have certain rooms that our student leadership goes in, make sure everybody's sure they're there. They will also pass on any announcements that are needed. We will also be using our mind to send announcements as we need to. But understand that once curfew is set, they are not to leave that room unless there's a fire. We don't have any of those planned on the outside. Okay, it's very detailed. There's no fires planned, but they're not to leave that room unless it's been an emergency. Okay, so just kind of understand that until we give them curfews up the next morning. Opening doors after curfew, same thing. If it's curfew's at 11 o'clock, at 12:03, somebody knocks on your door, do not open your door. Look out the peephole unless it's one of the staff members, one of us that you know is with our group as an adult. Okay? Even if the hotel manager is standing outside your door, they need to get up with one of us. You follow me? Okay, everybody understand that? Don't open the door for anybody. Okay? Make sure you heard that part. A lot of times the rooms after curfew, again, after a certain time, we're gonna expect things to settle down. We don't need to be walking down the hallways and hearing there wrestling, hear all this loud, or loud video games, or whatever, okay? You're gonna be tired, you're not gonna wanna do that anyway, I hope. Rooming list distribution, our plan, I have not talked to Lisa a whole lot about this, but usually we've learned to we used to try to take rooming lists and a small printer, I would run to the room and put everybody's room numbers in it, and all this, and then we try to pass them out. We just learned a few years ago, once we get the rooming list, we just take a picture and send it out to all of the people that are on the trip via reminder. And that way, if you need to know where your best friend is, or your mom who's a chaperone, you can just look at the remind text, open up the picture, oh, she's room 323, okay? That we found out a few years ago to use the technology, made it a lot easier. Now, so that you are aware, this is what's cool, the Group Travel Network does. We will have a nightly monitor provided at the hotel. There will be security that is walking up and down our hallways that our kids are on and our people are on the whole time that we are at the hotel that night. They have hired security to do that for us, which is awesome. Because it used to be that Mr. Schultz would take from 1 to 2, and I would take 2 to 3, and somebody else take 3 to 4. So we, into these trips, we were frazzled because we'd only be getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night. So Lisa, if you hear me, thank you for that. So there'll be people, security that is on our hallways at night. Okay? Okay. Okay. Issues, just so you know, if you get to your room and there's an issue with your room, something is broken, please notify us immediately. Usually when we leave hotels, we try to go in and check. We do a room check behind. I get adults to do that. And there have been situations in the past where, and I'll give you a prime example, my band drum major at a Disney trip, this was probably 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, my band drum major and another student that was my lead trumpet player were wrestling in their room at Disney. One of them tried to push the door shut. He was in the bathroom. The other one pushed the door. His sock slipped. He put his foot through the wall under the toilet. Now you can imagine when I did the room check and I said, "Where did the hole come from?" Oh, that was there when we got here. Okay, that cost him $278 that they had to split out themselves between them. Okay, thank goodness those 2 boys said it was us. They fessed up, so the other 2 didn't have to pay. All right, but if there's an issue when you get to your room, we need to have a light bulb burn out, something like that. No, but if there's something you see, our towel holders coming off the wall, let us know so we can notify management so they don't think it's something we did. You follow me? Everybody understand? Okay? All right, moving on. Wake-up calls. Guys, we're in a different world. We used to try to do wake-up calls at hotels. I'm not sure they even do that anymore. Cell phones, make sure that everybody in your room has got their cell phone or takes an alarm clock or does something. Because again, in today's world, I've learned the last few years, these hotels, you go, we get a wake-up call, I'm like, a what? Okay? So especially when we have, 30 rooms or so. So please make sure that you think about that and how you're gonna get up in the morning. And also breakfast. Remember, each hotel has breakfast. Now listen, these breakfast areas can accommodate 87 people at the same time. So as we come down to breakfast, we're gonna need to kind of do it in shifts. All right? And so some of you that are early risers are probably want to go ahead and get up, come on down and eat breakfast first, and maybe go back and look all pretty and that kind of stuff. Some of you may wait till later on and so forth, all right? We'll address it as we need to, but just kind of be thinking of it, especially in New York City, as you'll see a little bit later. All right, so let's look at our hotels. Our first hotel is the Doubletree Hotel in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Okay, you see a picture of it. It's recently renovated. Beautiful hotel, big rooms. Has interior hallways, which are always great. The checking in process, just so you know, when we get to Washington, D.C., what we tend to do, we will give instructions, but usually Ms. Weaver hands out the adult keys, Mr. Schultz hands out the boys' room keys, I hand out the girls' room keys. So once everybody gets their luggage, we kind of outside the hotel go, girls over here, boys over there, adults there, and that helps to move it faster. Lisa will already be there. She will have our keys ready, so we don't have to walk in from the hotel to get them and sort them. But usually we do it, girls in one area, they get their keys, boys in one area, and adults. Now understand, as we get ready to get in these hotels, elevator space is limited, so it's gonna take us a while to get up and down the elevators, okay? So no need to be in a hurry, it's gonna take a while. This hotel is 22 miles from the Washington Monument in the northwest of Washington, D.C., that's where Gaithersburg, Maryland is. Hot breakfast, you know, is included. They have an indoor swimming pool. So, that night we get there after having been on the bus for 20 hours, okay, if you wanna bring your swimsuit, we are okay. We'll make arrangements for there to be some adult supervision for you guys to swim that night. Be a great way to kind of stretch out the lights. Once you eat your pizza, if you want to swim, I think it closes at 10 that night. Okay? I'm telling you that here. So if you forget your swimsuit, you ain't swimming in your underwear. So make sure you got a swimsuit. Okay? Laundry services. Some of the parents ask us, chaperones, there is a laundry service. There are washers and dryers there at the DC Hotel. They also do where you send it out and they. Okay, just so you're aware of that. Issues with your room, again, you can tell me. Now this next part, don't get too excited, okay? There's a Starbucks located in the lobby of our hotel. Now that doesn't excite me over coffee, but listen, here's what you gotta know. We cannot be delayed because there are 30 people standing in line at Starbucks waiting on their coffee. When it's time to be on the bus, we got to be on the bus. So if you want Starbucks, you have to get down there early. Okay, you follow me? Give the barista enough time to make it, okay? So that is our Doubletree Hotel. To show you where it is in reference to Washington, D.C., you see it, and I didn't bring, is this got a laser pointer? You see it right there, right down here, Capitol Hill, National Mall, all that is right there. So we are northwest. We'll probably take 270 or 370 in, okay? One of those, whatever that is, I'm not sure. Okay, we'll take one of the interstates in. That is where our hotel for Washington, D.C. is located, okay? Any questions thus far about hotels? Yes? In DC, and I'll go over that in a minute, we'll only be walking and using our buses in DC, okay? So, let's talk about the Holiday Inn Express Times Square, New York City. You can see some pictures, okay? And let us talk to you a little bit. Again, the breakfast buffet is complimentary. You can see sort of how it is set up. Okay, it ain't real big. Lobby area ain't real big. Hey. Notice that the eating area here, and I read some reviews online, only holds about 35 to 40 people. So again, we'll need to do that in shifts, all right? We'll need to do it in shifts. I think the breakfast is usually available 6:30 to 9:30 every morning. Some of the reviews said there was nowhere to sit. I had to take it back to my room. All right, just be aware of that. That's kind of, you know, when you say in a hotel like that. Small eating space. There are only 2 elevators. I read this in reviews as well. They are somewhat small. So I say that because some of you that are more physically fit, students, they want to take the stairs up and down some. It will be a little crazy as we're checking in with luggage as well. Okay? Just be aware. Just about every hotel we've ever stayed in New York City, we had to wait on elevators. We stayed last time, the hotel we stayed at was a brand new hotel. It had 2 little bitty elevators. And we stood there. We had to be on the 23rd floor of elevator. Wait 10 minutes, elevator is full. So be ready to climb some stairs, okay? Just letting you know, be aware. Free coffee and tea available 24 hours a day in the lobby. Free high-speed internet. It is close to metro stations, the red line, the orange, and the blue lines. Notice the rooms, they are small. New York City rooms, every time we've ever stayed in New York City, always are small. Look at the picture. Students always say, where does my luggage go? Well, put it next to your bed, just crawl over it, okay? Everybody understand that? I don't want you to walk in, it ain't the Marriott with these big old, room half the size of the band room. They are small, that is because they're in these big tall buildings. That is just the way it is in New York City, okay? So please be aware of that. When you go in, just put everywhere you find your luggage, and just crawl over the top of it, and do what you gotta do. Remember, you don't be there to sleep and shower anyway, okay? Great locations. We are 1.5 long blocks west of and 6 short blocks south from the center of Times Square. So probably about a 10-minute walk or so from Times Square. All right? Show you where it's at. You got that big green one? Felt powerful like I was going to burn a hole in the screen. Okay? That is our hotel. This is Times Square. 1.5 blocks, about 6 blocks, and you're standing in the middle of Times Square. What's cool about this as well, you see we got Metro here. I think red line is right there. Yellow line, orange line, blue line. We're real close to the different subway system stops, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But it's in a great location, okay? Just 10-minute, 5-10-minute walk, and you were looking at Times Square, okay? Any questions thus far? Moving on. Now, that's the hotels. Let's talk about sightseeing. She asked a question, how are we going to be getting around, and just some things about sightseeing DC. Understand this, when we're in DC, students will be given certain parameters of where they can travel to. For example, our day at Smithsonian, we're going to point out to them, you see the National Mall. Here's this museum, that museum, and so forth. They will be given parameters. Some days we'll be all together. The day like at Smithsonian, they'll have free time to go in small groups and so forth to different museums. They'll be required to stay in groups of 3 or more. Students will, when they leave a museum, if they're going from the Natural History Museum to the American History Museum, they'll need to be in groups of 3 or more. If they don't have their group, they need to contact the group or tag in with another group. I don't want them walking out on the National Mall, and even though that's a very safe area, they need to be in groups of 3 or more. That way, if somebody gets hurt, somebody can stay with them, another person will get help. Everybody follow me on that? Groups of 3 or more. Again, if you can't find a group of 3 or more, you'll have some contact phone numbers for adults, and you'll tag in with somebody till you get back to the group. You get separated from your group, just that. Don't leave that museum until you got somebody from the Milton Band that you were with. Okay? Oh, what did I just do? There we go. Homeless people in National Mall. Now guys, listen, you're gonna see folks as you're walking, you're gonna see homeless people sleeping on the benches. Some of them may say stuff to you. And I know we're empathetic and sympathetic, but in the environment that you're in right there, you do not need to stop and engage with these people. I know that, and we even did some spring concert, I like helping. But in this situation where you're on your own, you just need to keep walking. Don't be stopping, taking pictures, okay? You with me on that? You will see them, they are there. In New York City, some of the subway stations. One time, took the van, we got there, walked down to Times Square, and we had our Metro Pass, I thought, let's give a subway ride back. We were only 1 stop from our hotel. Got down the subway, got off the subway, and I took a wrong turn and went down the wrong hall with 100 other people. And they were all sleeping while, I'll never forget the van was hugged up against the other wall. Okay? But again, just think about your safety. Everybody understand? Security checkpoints. Understand all these museums, you will be going through security checkpoints. We will address that in a little bit more detail here as we talk about Smithsonian, the White House. Personal security. Guys, as we leave on the trip, as we are on board and getting up to DC, I've ordered all of you neck wallets. They look just like this. Okay? Got a pouch in the front, pouch in the top. Okay? For you to stick personal type stuff underneath your shirt. Keep your personal belongings in front of you. There are people in Washington, D.C., there are people in New York City that make a living off tourists. And you may think, man, I'm cool, I can feel if somebody touches my back pocket. They are professionals. You follow me? You got $200 spending money in your back pocket. Before you know it, you go, where's my wallet? You don't even know they've been there and got it. Okay? Keep everything in front of you. Very important. Same thing with backpacks. Watch them do this. We were in Europe one time when professionals came up and stole somebody's passport out of their backpack. Okay? Because they've got ways of distracting you and getting you, somebody will be talking to you and you're like, I don't understand. Meanwhile, the other person is picking pockets. All right? So, and I tell you that not to scare you, I tell you that to make you aware and conscious. Okay? Be smart with with your personal security type stuff. Okay, keep everything in your front pockets, nothing behind you, and so forth. Buses loading and unloading. There will be times, especially in DC, or maybe when we get to New York, or we're loading New York, that we've got to move quickly on the bus, off the bus. Because a lot of times in DC, the buses may be parked right there. They're kind of blocking traffic. We got to be ready to go. We can't sit there and be like, "Where's Johnny? Where's Johnny?" Because the buses have got to leave. Okay, you with me? So it's important that we're where we need to be, and we'll give you early meeting times to make sure we check. We've got everybody. So when the buses pull up, we'll tell you we need to load quickly. Okay, when we say load quickly, that means get on the bus, get seated quickly, so we get the bus out there. All right. Utilizing tour teams to check roll. We will be in tour teams. I'll address tour teams a little bit later here. But when we get even in DC, we will have the tour teams checked. That way we've got eight tour teams. That way the staff here, we can check and go team 1, team 2, good, team 3. We'll utilize the tour teams for check and roll. Everybody follow me on that. Moving on. Talk about security and personal belongings for the White House. We did confirm our tour to the White House. Thank you for getting all that personal information. All of you have cleared. Okay, congratulations. So our tour for the White House is on Friday. And here's the main thing you need to know. And guys, listen, they take this stuff serious. I want you to understand that. 2 trips ago, I had a young lady that wasn't listening during this part of the meeting. That we got up there, they said, "Ma'am, you're 18, where's your driver's license?" I know I had to have a driver's license. She was with the school group. You know what they said? "You're gonna have to wait out here." Okay? Unfortunately, I had to wait out there with her, which really ticked me off. Because I wasn't gonna leave her out there by herself. Okay? So make sure that you're paying attention. I'm gonna just say this, about the only thing you can take into the White House with you is your ID and your cell phone with it turned to airplane mode or turn, so you can use the camera on that. You cannot take regular cameras, video recorders, handbags, backpacks, purses, food, beverages, tobacco products, personal grooming items, makeup, lotion, etc. Any pointed object, aerosol containers, guns, ammo, fireworks, electronic guns, mace, martial arts weapons, or knives. Again, your ID, your ID, maybe your wallet, your money, and your cell phone. Okay? No bags of any kind. Now, the beauty is the bus is going to drop us off after Arlington that day to eat lunch. You'll grab your money. Okay? And then once we eat lunch, we're going to walk over to the White House, do our tour. And then after the White House tour, we'll get back on the buses to get all your other personal belongings stuff. Okay? You follow me? So, items that are allowed are umbrellas, cell phones, which must be turned off for airplane mode, wallets, and it does say compact cameras. I guess on the other cameras they meant the biggies. I copied this straight from the email that they sent me. No flash photography, no live streaming. Don't be on Facebook Live like, "Hey y'all, check out the White House." Okay? No texting. We're talking on cell phones. Your phone may be confiscated by U.S. Secret Service. There are Secret Service agents all through the hallways and the different rooms. If they catch you doing that, they'll just take your phone, and they're not going to give it back. You understand that? You just violated a major thing there at the people's house. Okay? So, understand this. Guests who are 18 or older must have a government-issued ID, a driver's license, military ID, or a passport. Guests that are 17 and under aren't required to have ID. However, it is recommended. Even a school ID, or if you got a driver's license, I would just have it. You with me on that? If you're 18, you gotta have it. You gotta have it. The young lady before was 18, and she goes, "I didn't know I had to have a driver's license." Okay? Cool? Everybody understand? Any questions thus far? Okay? Moving on. Smithsonian museums, understand this. Most of the museums have metal detectors. Be prepared. You see the Air and Space Museum right here. Okay? All bags, if you got your backpack, they recommend the fanny packs and small bags. That's what they recommend. They said you bring backpacks, but we don't recommend it because it's going to slow the lines up and take longer. Okay? But all bags will be checked. You're encouraged not to bring backpacks or large bags. Again, they recommended small bags and fanny packs, just so you're aware. What's not allowed is sharp items such as knives, scissors, screwdrivers, etc., weapons, pepper spray or mace, selfie sticks, and tripods. Okay? Anything that can damage our, the collectibles, our nation's treasures, is what the Smithsonian museums have. It'll make sure that nobody walks in there without been trying to damage anything. Okay? So understand that. I remember we had a chaperone at one of our, Mr. Thurman last time. We walked in to see the Constitution bylaws back in maybe the early 2000s, and he'll tell you the story. Guess what he had in his pocket, guys? Pocket knife. Guess what happened to his pocket knife? It's gone. They said, no, sir, you can't see the death of a pocket knife in your pocket. Okay? And so on, or the bill, the Constitution, Bill of Rights. All right? So just kind of understand that. Moving on. That was Washington, D.C. New York City. We will use a tour teams approach. We've got prearranged teams, 4 to 10 students with 2 to 5 adults. Now, I will say this. I've got a quasi list. The students signed up, and I don't know if some of the adults signed up or the students signed the adults up. I've got that on the door up here. But I've got to have enough adults for every group. And I know that the chaperone meetings that we had that night, that everybody said, y'all want to be in the group, my kid, well, then all your kids signed up together. I'm like, well, we can't have 15 adults. We only got 20 that are in the same group. Okay? So, chaperones, before you leave tonight, we got to kind of get this worked out. We may have to move some of the student groups around. We've got a week to do this. But if you'll check that list, and then Ms. Weaver will be at the list in there on my desk. If you've got something that you prefer, if I don't have your name on the list, if you will let us know, we got to get it balanced. Does everybody understand that we can't have 6 to 8 in one group of 10 kids? We got to make sure that we get it all scattered out. But we will be touring in small tour teams. Guys, the first time I took Bama to New York, I had 110 in the group, including me. And we try to do everything as a group, and I almost quit my job. Because we'd be stretched out over 3 or 4 blocks, and it was just a nightmare. So we learned from that experience to keep the group small moving around New York, and everybody enjoys it more. These adults that are going will be kind of their trip parents while we're in New York. Okay? They'll be split. Sometimes these groups may split into smaller teams. A lot of these groups have got 9 or 10 students signed up with 2 or 3 adults, but there may be a situation where the adult and the 3 of the students, they go, hey, we want to go do this, and the other ones, if the adults and the students all agree, they can split into smaller sub-teams for part of the days and so forth. Common interest in attractions, that's one reason we're meeting with students next Monday. We do want to kind of match folks up with what they want to go and see and do. I will tell you that to a certain extent, some of these groups change up some during the trip. We want everybody to enjoy it, everybody to be happy. Sometimes we match students and parents up that don't get along, and so sometimes in the middle, we're moving folks around a little bit. We go, okay, we're gonna take these 2 from you and put them in that group. Is that okay? If everybody's okay with it, then we make that happen. Most times the parents want, please get rid of these. Okay, so, and again, it's a balancing act, and we're used to it, but we'll try to get them based on their common interest attractions. They will have some parameter free time. What do I mean by that? For example, we're in Times Square that first night, and their adults aren't gonna necessarily be with them in the Times Square area, but they can set parameters. Hey guys, these 3 or 4 blocks right here, I'll be over here if you need me. They'll have cell phone numbers and so forth. What we do continue to ask is that the groups stay, and the students stay in groups of 3 or more. Okay? You know, I did this in the past, it's a drag. I had 12 behind me. First time we tried the small groups, and if one of them wanted to go in the store, all 12 of us had to go in the store. You know, and 11 of us cared nothing about the stuff that was in that store. So we're all standing at the door all bad. You know, and so, you know, again, the adults, and you guys really use good sense with this. You can set parameters, go, okay guys, we're gonna hang out on this block right here. There's 5 or 6 stores. We'll meet right back here in 20 minutes. You got my cell phone number. I'll be at this store and this store. Okay? So for some parameter free time there, they'll have contact cell phone numbers for the adults, and the adults will have the student phone numbers. We'll be swapping all that information. Each day we'll give them recommended routes and daily activities that we recommend. For example, our first day in New York, we'll see on the itinerary, is that they do the south, do the downtown loop. Okay? Traveling modes, we got several different modes that we're traveling. One is walking. Okay? One is walking. We'll do a lot of walking on this trip. The second is the hop-on, hop-off double-decker buses, which I'll show you a little bit more detail in just a moment. And the third one is the New York Metro subway system. They will be getting passes for the buses for 3 days. They will be getting passes for the metro system, subway system, which I know, and I've watched this, I know that I met with the chaperones a few weeks ago. We went over how to read the subway maps, all that kind of stuff. And I know a lot of parents were like, trust me, one of the coolest things when they come back and these kids and these parents, the chaperones that go, have figured all this out. It is really kind of a cool thing. Okay, so just trust me on that. Now, let's talk about security and belongings, and we're going to talk about the transportation around there. 9/11 Museum, 9/11 Memorial, One World Observatory, they've got security type stuff. Again, things you need to remember, that all visitors have to pass through metal detectors. Your bags must be smaller than 25 by 17 by 9. So no huge bags are allowed to be taken in those places. They'll either be x-rayed or hand checked, and you see the prohibited items, can't bring in alcohol, animals, demonstrations, can't have demonstrations there, glass bottles, littering, paint, smoking, fireworks, powdered substances, liquid soaps, outside food, drinks, weapons, etc. at those. Now getting around the city, the hop-on, hop-off buses. You may notice, right up here, you see what those buses look like. They're the open top, you get cold, you go sit underneath. Sometimes they'll have kind of a plastic, kind of a clear glass covering in the front half of the bus, okay? You'll get a 3-day pass. Don't lose it. That's why we're giving you the net wallet, which is starting to make me sweat. Okay, because I have another shirt on. So I would recommend show that pass, get on the bus, put it back in your net wallet. Keep it where you're gonna know where it's at. If you lose it, you're gonna have to buy another one. Okay, so don't lose it. That's your main mode of transportation during the day. These buses have narrated tours. Now, last time I was on one, there was a narrator on, you had a driver, then you had somebody else usually standing up top of the microphone, and they were going, if you look to your right over here, you'll notice the such and such building. And they share stories about stars and movies and different things like that. And I was on their out earlier today, and it had a narrated tour on there, so I don't know if they have switched to where it's on your smartphone through the app. That I'm not sure of yet. Okay, but I noticed you could get it in English or Chinese or all the different languages. Okay? These buses make various stops on the tour. The buses run every 15 to 30 minutes, and you have to look for signs. The beauty of the app will tell you, because I was watching the bus on the downtown loop today, the 2 buses, is the app will now show you where the buses are, and will let you know via GPS when you're at the stop. Okay? In the past, we were always walking around because there's a ton of signs trying to find the one that said New York Sightseeing. Where was that sign at? Okay? You see the different loops, different tours, downtown loops. If you ride the bus continuously about 2.5 hours, most all these run about the same times, 8:30 to 5 a.m. Buses run about every 15 to 20 minutes. The uptown loop, which takes you up around Central Park, all the way up to Harlem and back. Okay, up around the Metropolitan Opera and all those places up there, Lincoln Center. 2+ hours, 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock, 20 to 30 minutes. The Brooklyn Loop. With some of you may want to venture over to Brooklyn, you catch it down by Battery Park. It's an hour and a half. It goes over the Brooklyn Bridge, goes down, through Brooklyn a little bit, and comes back. Now, groups may choose to get on the bus and ride all the way around the loop, and then decide where they want to get off and ride it a second time, or they may just kind of make their day. Hey, you guys want to go off here? Yeah, let's go see this such and such, and they all get off. And usually the narration, the tour guides will tell you if you want to see this, get off at this stop. You want to see Grand Central Station. It's about 2 blocks out. Okay, so again, 2 different approaches. They can ride it the whole time, see everything, and then decide where they want to go. All right, nighttime tour, I'm not sure if they will have time to do that one, but that is also included. Smartphone app, if you're looking for it on your smartphone, it's called New York Sightseeing Tours. You're going to go ahead and check that one out, New York Sightseeing Tours. And again, I'm going to send you this PowerPoint via email. But that is the app that you can use that has a live GPS. It shows where all the stops are and so forth. Okay, getting around the city on the New York City Metro subway system. Just some facts. It's the largest rapid transit system in the world. Averages 5.6 million daily rides on weekdays, about 3 million rides on the weekend. Everyone's going to get a Metro card for subways and buses. Do not lose it. You get anxious. If you have questions, ask the local, ask the subway agent, or look at the maps locating the stations. And what we've discovered in the past, the kids are usually great at navigating the subways. Okay, some of the adults in the past that were kind of the chaperones were kind of nervous about it, that by the time they got with their groups and about day 2, everybody was just like pros at it. Okay? I understand it can become extremely crowded at rush hour, especially those trains that are at Steam Midtown. I shared the story, I almost quit my job. It's because I had 110 people that I was trying to get on the subway to get back to a stop because we had to change the plans on the trip, and it was rush hour, and I couldn't get 110 people on the subways. Okay? And so we were stuck at a station that was loud. Everybody was tired, it was noisy, and all the trains kept pulling up and they were full. Okay, and we'll talk to kids more about the subway stuff on Monday. We already did that with the adults. Okay, weather, how to dress. Right now, looking at weather.com, it's already kind of given forecast to those days of what they're anticipating. Of course, we'll need to check it next week for kind of a better forecast, but highs around 59. During those days we're in Washington, D.C., it usually ranges from about 54 to 59 for the highs. And the lows are usually somewhere, the lowest being 40 to around 45. Okay? Possible showers on some of those days as well. according to the forecast. New York City is a little bit cooler. Highs around 50. So during the day, it stays in the 45 to 50 range, and lows at night around 35 and get showers possible. Now, we're all from Florida, okay? If you've never traveled outside of the states with the humidity in them, okay, it's a lot different up there, okay? I recommend layering clothing. What I mean by that, t-shirt on underneath or an undershirt. I like to have several undershirts. Put on long sleeve shirt, and then usually I kind of layer something else on over that. If it's gonna be really cold, I'll wear a coat, I'll wear a jacket, okay? But you want to layer so you can take layers off, especially as you're moving inside, because it may be nice and cold on the street of New York City, but when you go inside for lunch, all of a sudden the heater's blasting, okay? So you can take layers off, so maybe a couple of shirts on underneath and a long sleeve, and then a jacket. You may want to consider, because it will be windy as well in New York, gloves, scarf, hats, that stuff. If you don't have it, you can't get it for cheap. I will tell you, when you get up there in that downtown loop, Chinatown, those souvenir shops, I bought some great winter hats for like $5 kind of stuff, okay? So just something to think about. It will get cold as you're riding that bus. Wind's whipping down through the seat. It will be chilly, okay? You follow me? Don't be the typical Milton guy that shows up with flip-flops and shorts. That's all I brought, okay? It's gonna be cold and you're gonna be miserable. So just be thinking about that. Blue jeans, stuff like that. New York City, a lot of your touring is going to be done outside and packing. Remember that you can rewear some of the layers. Now I know down here in the South, if I wear this shirt for an hour, it's got to be washed because the humidity makes you sweat. Up there, it's not the same. Okay? We go to Europe, different places like that. I try to pack light, let that shirt air out because I had on another shirt underneath it. So I can wear this shirt again in like 2 or 3 days. Okay? Now see, Nancy, you give me that look, but you ain't ever been up north. Okay? Febreze, little bottles of Febreze, or there have been times, Ms. Weaver, where we've washed clothes under the sink, hung them in our hotel room. Okay, when you're on longer trips like that. Okay, you don't need to bring, 15 different outfits, 10 different pairs of shoes, ladies. Okay? Right, because you're gonna have to carry your luggage when we get to hotels and all that kind of stuff. Something for you to think about. Any questions about that? Moving on. Itinerary. Just kind of at a glance, okay? Next Wednesday night, we're going to be departing. I'm going to just do it quickly. Departing. Next Thursday, traveling all day, arriving in Washington that night. Day 3, through 5, we'll sightsee Washington. On Sunday morning, we'll go to Mount Vernon. And then that afternoon, we will travel up to New York City after we've eaten lunch in D.C. Then day 6, 7, 8, we'll be in New York City. And then day 9, we'll depart New York and then travel all day and all that night, getting back in on day 10, probably between 6 and 7 a.m. on Friday morning, okay? Before parents go to work, so you can get your kid back, okay? So that's it at a glance. Now, if you want to see our official itinerary, Lisa and the folks at Group Travel Network have done an incredible job of putting together a very detailed itinerary. I was going to print it, and I realized all the details that I had given her, and she put it, it's 9 pages long, and I thought, well, I don't need to make 900 copies, okay? This is what it looks like. It is very detailed. I would encourage you to look it over. In today's modern world, we've made it available to you so you can just put it on your phone by simply going to the MiltonHighSchoolBand.com website. At the top of that, you can click on DC New York trip info. You want to show them? Yeah. Okay. And then select band trip itinerary. Go ahead, Ms. Schultz. DC New York trip info, see it, band trip itinerary. Your password is simply MHS band. We wanted the password protected just for security reasons. Okay? MHS band. Click on band trip itinerary, and there you go. He'll kind of scan down and show you. See, she's giving you descriptions of Arlington Cemetery and what you can see there, things that you need to check out, all of that. Special notes in there, okay, how to dress, different things like that. It's 9-page itinerary. Again, we didn't want to make 900 copies tonight, and because I know as we get on the trip, a lot of them have forgot it, but download it on your phone from our band website. What's the password? MHS band. It is also on that small sheet. The sheet I gave you, if you'll flip it over, it is on the bottom, the instructions on how to get there. Okay? Everybody understand? All right, moving on. Let's look at the itinerary. Any plans? Start right there at the next one. Maybe like, go back under, go to slideshow. From current slide. No, from current slide. Go to left. There we go. All right, so moving on. Let's glance through the itinerary. We're wrapping it up. Band room on Wednesday night, March 11th, is going to open at 7:30, an hour before call time. That way we can get our rest, we can get our stuff packed. Yes, they have to be at school on Wednesday. We do as well. When you get here, okay, we will have designated areas for the luggage for bus 1 and bus 2. Instead of everybody bringing their luggage in here, what I will ask is that bus 1 folks put them along the sidewalk and the benches on this side of the door. Bus 2 puts their luggage this side of the door. Only got 2 buses, okay? So that way you kind of keep it, because your luggage is going to go into your bus. We start to load. 8:30 is our call time. That's when we will check roll. That's when we will start the loading process. We will have a process. Students, you do not need to get on the buses when you get here, okay? We will check, we will load everything, and then we will load by seniority onto the buses. Okay, so parents, adults, the chaperones already know this. You can go ahead and find your seat and put your stuff in there. Students, we will load you in a specific order. 9 o'clock, we plan to depart for Washington, D.C. We got 950 miles, 15 hours. It's about 520 miles, which is 8 hours plus a time change in the Eastern Standard Time before we get to breakfast that morning. Okay? So, day 2, because we're on Interstate 85 all day. 7 o'clock, breakfast at Golden Corral. Again, it's included. About an hour there. Then we depart for Richmond, Virginia for lunch, about 300 miles away, 5.5 hours. 1:30, we have lunch at Chesterfield Town Center Mall there in Richmond, Virginia. That's the food courts I showed you earlier. 3 o'clock, we continue to Gaithersburg to our hotel, which is about 132 more miles because of traffic. Will take us about 3 hours. 6 o'clock, we meet Lisa. We check into our hotel. 7:30, we'll have the pizza party downstairs in the ballroom, or the conference room, not the ballroom. Okay, remember that's included. 8:30, rest and relax for the big day tomorrow. Again, bring your swimsuit if you want to eat. That's day 2. Eat if you want to swim, sorry. My mouth's moving faster than my brain. I'm trying to get you out of here, folks, but I want to go over this stuff. Day 3, Friday, March the 13th, is our Arlington and White House Day. 6 o'clock, early morning that morning, which is 5 o'clock Central Time, just so you know. Okay, breakfast at the hotel. 7 o'clock, we leave for Arlington. 8:30, we're going to have to go through. Arlington also requires that we have IDs. Okay, visit Arlington National Cemetery at 8:30. 11 o'clock, we leave. All right, at Arlington, we're doing the walking tour where you'll walk up Kitty's gravesite, you'll walk up to the changing of the guard, Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, that kind of stuff. Our goal is to try to catch at the 10 o'clock changing of the guard. Okay, that's our goal, is to have everybody up there about 9:30, 9:45 for the changing of the guard. 11:30, we leave Arlington at 11:30, we have lunch at National Food Place Hall. 12:30, we start walking that block to the White House because we have to be lined up at 12:45 for our 1 o'clock tour of the White House. Take about an hour. Once we're done with the White House tour, we'll walk back. The bus will be parked back on the back street back there. We'll walk around the perimeter of the White House, back to our buses, get on our buses. They will take us to the National Archives area and drop us off. We're going to try to get in the public line, go in, see the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, that type of stuff. So we may be standing in line a while, but we'll get to walk in. You'll get to see those documents. We'll walk back out, walk over near the Capitol building, let's take some pictures around the Capitol building there. We're not going in the Capitol building. We used to try to set up that tour, and I'm just going to be honest with you, it got really boring. You couldn't see the Senate chamber, the House chambers. You pretty much saw the rotunda, which is gorgeous. You saw the monument hall of the statues, and you got to see the tomb thing underneath. I have no idea. I hope so. Anybody's got connections? But you know, I don't know. I do know that we can tell by the flag if he's there at the residence center. Now, I will say this: the last time that we were there, we saw the president. We saw President Obama later. Oh, wow. Okay. So, one of the things you can always count on as we're coming out of the White House, if there is a high police presence, and you start looking, it's lost power. If you start looking, If you start looking and there's a police car at pretty much every intersection around the White House, you know that something's fixing to go down, okay? Last time we came out of the White House, students were getting on the bus, and I went, hey, y'all get off the bus. And about that time, here comes the presidential motorcade out of the back gate. So we were, standing and waving and taking pictures and all that stuff. Can't guarantee, that's not guaranteed for this trip, okay? So, we'll visit the National Archives. There we go. 5:30, dinner at Chevy's Fresh Mex. You saw that meal earlier. We had dinner. And at Chevy's that night, we will have 2 professional tour guides from Washington, D.C. that will get on the bus, and they will lead our nighttime tour of the monuments. We've always done it that way. And so they'll have 2 folks from D.C. that do this professionally that will get on, and so they will, we'll go to certain memorials, and they will get off, and we'll walk up to them, and the professional tour guides will talk to us about what you're seeing. Okay? We'll do the nighttime tour of the monuments, about 10 o'clock or so, or midnight, whatever. Return to the hotel. Okay? That was day 3. Any questions about day 3? White House. Day 4, Smithsonian Museums, all day that day. Breakfast at the hotel is at 8. Smithsonian's open. We'll leave at 9:15. The Smithsonian Museums open at 10. They are open from 10 to 5. Okay, so they'll have all day. They'll need to choose. Guys, those museums are massive. Okay, that's what we're going to talk to students about on Monday. You'll probably need to choose 1, maybe 2 museums, because you're not going to have all. You're going to have to kind of pinpoint what you want to see at those museums. Okay, because you can walk. There are multiple floors. There are, left, west wings, east wings, north wings, south wings, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So just kind of be aware. We will stay there. You do lunch on your own that day. They close at 5. We will all meet at the foot of the Washington Monument from wherever museum they are. And then we're going to walk down while it's still daylight to several of the monuments, such as the Vietnam Memorial. We've been there at night with the band, but it's kind of hard to see. It's got lights along it, so you can sort of see, but you can't really see the names. Korean War Memorial. Some of those that are right around there. We'll walk down the reflecting pool and see those while it's still got a little bit of daylight left. Okay, at 6:45, our buses pick us up. We depart for dinner. 7:45, we got dinner at Buca di Beppo. That's our Italian meal. 9 o'clock, back to the hotel. We pack for New York City. Good? Moving on. Day 5, we get up that morning. That's our Mount Vernon and our travel day. Mount Vernon, of course, is George Washington's home place. We get up, we have breakfast in the hotel. We check out of the hotel. We depart by 8. We drive down to Alexandria, Virginia, which is southeast of D.C. Sunday morning, 9:15, we visit Mount Vernon. Lisa and her folks have scheduled us. We have a time already assigned to see the mansion, which is in the picture. That's George Washington's home place at 9:55. So they have a little bit of time to wander, to get back there through the fields and all the different the greenhouse and all that stuff that they've got. It's a beautiful facility. It's really beautiful on that Sunday morning. I'm going to be honest with you. It's right on the Potomac River. The Potomac runs behind it. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous place. 12:15, we'll depart Mount Vernon, go back into D.C., eat lunch at Harriet's, and then hit the road, departing from New York City about 2:45, 240 miles, 4.5 hours. If we have time, we will try to make a Walmart stop, a super Walmart stop between D.C. and New York for them to, as a bathroom stop, and for them to grab whatever supplies they need, batteries. Listen, but if we do, it's going to be like a 30-minute. Go in, get snacks, get what you need, get your batteries, get whatever you need, get back on the bus. Okay? We ain't Christmas shopping, all right? 7:15, we arrive at the Holiday Inn Express, Times Square, unload the buses, get about an hour to get to our rooms, freshen up a little bit, and then we meet Lisa back downstairs at 8:15. We walk to Times Square. They have got a photographer lined up. Everybody will get a group photo of our group in Times Square. Okay? There's one somewhere. It used to be on the window, but I don't see it anymore. Okay? But we will get with Times Square in the background and our group all standing there. There it is. Okay? We will have a group photo made. Everybody on the trip, Group Travel Network, is going to provide you with a photo of our group. Okay? We take our picture. And then either before, hopefully we'll get there. If we get there early, the photographer, she said, has a spot and we're set up. It won't take you but about 2 minutes to get our pictures. And then we'll be able to break, go to dinner. We may have to break for dinner and then come back and get the picture made. Okay, so that's going to kind of be up in the air depending on how quick we can move. 11 o'clock, we return back to the hotel, sleep, get ready for a big day. Day 6, 6:30 to 9:30, our breakfast buffet at the hotel. 8 o'clock though is when the downtown tour double-decker buses start. And you'll need to walk up to Times Square to catch those buses. We will sightsee New York City, recommending the downtown tour, all the groups. Lunch on your own. At 2 o'clock, we meet at the 9/11 Memorial for the flag tribute. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, those papers are due on Friday, just by the way. You can check out what we're having the students do, and anyone else that would like to do it on our website, 9/11 Project, but they're researching a person and victim from that day on 9/11, and kind of getting to know them. And when we get there, we're going to place these little flags at their nameplate. They fit just perfectly in the nameplate at the memorial. It says, in memory of their person from you, and the Milton High School Mighty Black and Gold Band in Milton, Florida. They'll place these. They actually keep these and they give them to the families after towards the end of the day. So they don't just take the drum away. So it's just kind of a little tribute to keep that memory alive that we talked about. This senior class is the last class where students may have been alive
As babies.
when it happened. Yeah, so either on the day or were alive just before the day. So we're just a little thing for us to give tribute to these individuals.
And it makes the place real, it really does. So it's a very moving activity that we do. One of my favorite things that we do on this trip. So all the groups will meet at 2 o'clock at the 9/11 Memorial, which you see a picture of it here with the foothold where one of the buildings used to stand. There's water kind of all the way around. The water's poured down into it. The names of all the victims from those towers or those planes that died there are there. It's a very moving tribute that we do there that day. I am asking each team to be sure to visit the One World Observatory, which is the big tall building right there, which your ticket will get you in the one day, the park hopper. The hop on, hop off buses have got some free events that are with them, okay? And so I'm asking that each group utilize one of those. I think there's 7 attractions. One of those needs to be for the One World Observatory. The other needs to be for the 9/11 Museum, which is right there all together. Okay, they can do it before our meeting at 2 or after our meeting at 2. Then that night, everybody makes their way back up. 6:30, we have dinner in Times Square at the Hard Rock Cafe. Went over that with you earlier. And we're gonna meet there at 6:45. We have dinner. Then they got a little bit of free time around Times Square after dinner, and the groups make their way back to the hotel by 10:30 or earlier if desired, if the group wants to go back early. Okay. Day 7, Happy St. Patrick's Day. We're gonna be in New York City for St. Patrick's Day. The parade's about 3 blocks from our hotel, over on 6th Avenue. Okay. Also, that morning, for those that want to, this is a tradition. We've done it twice now, so that makes it tradition. This will be the 3rd time. Those that want to get up early at 6. The first time we got them up at 4:30, and we showed up at ABC Studios for Good Morning America. They were just setting up, and they looked at about 50 and said, "What are y'all doing here?" And it's like, "Here for the show." They're like, "You're way early." But that year, Jennifer Lawrence was on Good Morning America. You can see our band logo sign, some of our students. It was cool because we got to know all the folks that were setting up, and they would go, "Come by the windows, come by the windows." And the whole band would run over, and then the cameras, you'd see us outside the windows. "Go over to the cooking area, go to the cooking area." And we'd run over, and then Emerald Lagasse was out there cooking. We're all in the background, and even our drum major that year got to say, with Sam Champion got to say, "Now back to the weather," or something like that, which was really kind of cool.
I gotta say, Mr. Weaver, I'll tell this quick story. Mr. Weaver looked like a protester. He got up in the middle of Times Square holding this up.
The people back home can see us. There I am, right there. You can see me, you can't see me, but you can see the sign. So I'm behind all the kids. So, but we got a lot going that day. St. Patrick's Day parade, I think, is at 10 or 11 o'clock that day. Visit Good Morning America. If they don't, they can sleep in. But we'll make our way backwards to the hotel a little bit after the show has started. And breakfast 6:30 to 9:30. Sightseeing the New York City double-decker buses, 8:30 to 3 that day. Lunch and snack on their own. And then at 3:15, we have to return back for the Broadway show. Okay? Now, dress attire, listen to me. We're going to have to be doing some walking. I had some band parents last night that were talking to me about this. And we want to be somewhat dressy. Okay? It ain't got to be like prom. You don't need to wear big formal gowns. But we are going to a Broadway show. All right? But I say that because you need to dress comfortable because we are going to be walking about 2.5 miles to dinner and then walking back to the show and walking around Times Square. Okay? Try to stay, if you just do more of a slacks type thing, try to stay away from blue jeans. Okay? you know, or I think last night some ladies y'all were talking about leggings and some kind of nice top or something like that. But don't wear high heel shoes because we're going to do a lot of walking. Okay? But again, dress above school dress, but it ain't got to be fancy dress. You with me? I understand. 4 o'clock, we're going to leave. We're going to walk over, close to Macy's for our dinner, the cast party dinner. Roland's is at the Herald Square. There is where Roland's is. 4:30, we got our cast party dinner. 6 o'clock, we depart for the Majestic Theater, which is back over at Times Square area. We'll walk back over. 7 o'clock, we see Phantom of the Opera. It's 2.5 hours long. Okay? See the Phantom of the Opera. 9:30, the show will end. About 10:45 that night, everybody back at the hotel. We'll start doing route checks and so forth. Okay? Any questions about that day? Now, if the groups want to go watch some of the St. Patrick's Day Parade, they're allowed to do that as well. I will have more information to you about that when we get on the road. Okay, as we get to New York City. Day 8 is sort of your last day in New York. It is sort of your free day. You've got all day, you and your group, to decide where you're going, what you didn't get to see that you want to see. Okay? 6:30, 9:30 breakfast. You can go whichever way you want to that day from 8:30 to 5. Lunch and dinner at your own expense. At 6, we have to meet at Pier 83 for the cruise, which is a few blocks west, I believe, of Times Square. I'll have to double check that. Lisa will give us more information. But we have to meet at 6. At 7, we have our Harbor Lights cruise. It's 2 hours. That's going to be a cruise out. We'll get to see the Manhattan skyline from the water. You'll probably get to, somewhat close to the Statue of Liberty at night. All that. We have a 2-hour cruise on the Hudson River there and around the tip of the island so that you can get some great pictures of the Manhattan skyline at night. Yes? That is up to you and your groups. We'll talk about that later. That is part of your pass, okay, of the passes that you get. 10:30 that night, back at the hotel, we pack up. And then day 9, we're on the bus. Breakfast at the hotel, 6:30 to 8:15. We're checking out at 8:30, loading buses. We're pulling out at 9 o'clock that morning. 1,011 miles, 18 hours of drive time, not including stops. Again, we'll make stops for lunch, for dinner, and restroom breaks. Okay, which usually will take us about an extra 5 hours or so on the trip. And then we are estimated to arrive back in Milton around 6 to 7 a.m. on Friday, March the 20th. Okay? Any questions about the itinerary? Yes, sir.
Will there be any size restrictions for the buses for carry-on or?
And I'm fixing to address that next slide with a good question. As long as it ain't huge, we got to put about 40-something people's luggage underneath each bus. Okay? Yeah, listen, guys, we don't need to show up with 3 or 4 suitcases. Okay? We're going to be gone 10 days. The first day, you're going to be wearing whatever you're going to be wearing all day. Last day, you're just going to be riding back on the bus stop at the mall. So really, you're looking at 8 days. I shared with you earlier about undershirts, that type of stuff, and you can kind of rewear. We're not going to judge anybody, okay? Because I'm gonna be re-wearing some shirts that I've got undershirts on underneath, like maybe this shirt or something. You may see me wearing it twice during the trip. That's okay. Okay? If it stinks, I'll Febreze it or I'll wash it in the sink. But it shouldn't stink because I'm not gonna sweat. Okay? So, good question. All right. So, any other questions about the itinerary? I've got one more slide with some detailed stuff on it about all the extra stuff like luggage and stuff. All right. Last slide. Other important information. Luggage sizes. All right. Again, a large suitcase is fine as long as you just have one large suitcase. Don't bring the large one, the medium one, and the small one. Okay. You may need to bring a medium suitcase. You may need a small bag. I know with shoes, that stuff. 2 pieces of luggage as long as they're not gigantic. Everybody follow me on that? I think we're gonna be okay on room. We'll make it fit. If you bring too much, you'll just have to sit in your life for the way up. Okay. So just pack smart. You'll be fine. We're not gonna set major restrictions. Just don't show up with a traveling wardrobe, right, Ms. Weaver? We learned that in Europe a little hard way. I thought if I bought those little clips, where you clip them all together, it would be easy. It's not easy. Group photo. Talked about that. We'll do that night. That is included in the cost of the trip. Medications. Now, here's the deal. Here, I told you before, we're not using the Santa Rosa County School District. We have taken some trips through an outside group to Europe. Most medications, if they are not controlled substances, narcotics, we're just going to let, unless you think your child will have a problem with it, we're going to let them keep those on them. A lot of the medications our students take, if they're not a controlled substance, they're allowed to keep them on. If you think it's something major that your child doesn't need to keep on them, or if you think that they can't take it regularly the way that they need to, if you will see me or Ms. Weaver or Mr. Schultz, we're gonna work out one-on-one plans. Are you with me? In the past, we would always say, everybody brings their medicine, and we got this huge bag of medications. Then we had to have an adult that was assigned, 10 hours a day of having to meet up with Johnny at 10 o'clock to give them that, and meet up at 1 o'clock with Susie to give them that. And now that we're not falling under the school umbrella on this, we want to try this. But again, if it's a controlled type substance that you think, if it got in the wrong hands, it would be an issue. If you will see us, we will work out medication plans one-on-one. Does everybody understand that? Okay, everybody follow me on that? We've done this every time we've gone to Europe. The kids hold on to their own medicine, and we've had no issues. Okay, but again, if you think it's something we need to be aware of, let's have that conversation one-on-one. That allows kids to have aspirin. We've already, Ms. Weaver's already purchased some. We'll have a small medical kit with us for Band-Aids, aspirins, Pepto-Bismol, that kind of stuff. If, we'll get stuff at pharmacies or whatever we need to as we go. But we don't want to haul the big bags around and then try to hunt everybody down, especially as everybody's in different areas of the EOC. Okay? But we'll do it one-on-one as need be. Any questions about that? None? Moving on. Luggage tags. Everybody going on the trip will get 2 of these luggage tags. One is for your luggage that goes underneath the bus. The other is for your carry-on item. This is from Group Travel Network. Okay, this is how they will identify all of our luggage. Need to make sure we get it filled out. Adults, chaperones are going. If you'll get those at the end from Ms. Weaver in my office, students will get theirs next Monday at our 4 o'clock meeting after school. We'll give them to them next Monday. Fill them out. One goes on your luggage front of the bus. One goes on your luggage that goes on the bus. Okay? Luggage tags. Any questions about that? Moving on. Budgeting during your trip. In the past, years ago, we used to do what we called the band bank, where parents could bring up envelopes full of money for each day. Again, what we've learned over the years is that it's being a dying off thing. Most kids take debit cards nowadays. Now that everybody's got debit cards. And so I want you to try to help your child budget. If you want to send emergency cash with us with your child's name on it, in case they don't budget well, I'll be the first to tell you, Milton High School band trip, 1987, Greg Weaver ran out of money in New York City. Mr. Bell, the band director, had to loan Greg Weaver money. And Greg Weaver's parents had to pay Mr. Bell back when we got home. Okay? But we're not going to do the band bank thing again because groups are leaving the hotel at different times. Band bank used to set up early in the morning. I think the last time we did it, we had about 10 people that participated in the band bank. So if there's an issue with your child and you think you want to send emergency cash or maybe New York money, if we get to New York, we give them that envelope. If you will see us one-on-one, we will arrange that. Okay? Probably a little bit of cash and everything else in the card. Or especially, there may be some, pardon me? Yeah, probably 50 or whatever, yes, ma'am. So especially if they're like snack machines or something, so they can get on if they need to. Okay? Tour groups. I don't know why that's up there. I just, okay? Oh, I remember why. Adults, don't forget, we got the sheets over here on the wall, or on the wall right inside the door right here. If you will check that, we've got to get that, try to get that finagled and arranged where we have enough adults with each tour group. So that list is over here. We've got a list in the office if you will help us with that afterwards. Pizza order. Later this week, maybe as late as Friday, I'm going to send out an email, we'll do it with the kids, where I need to kind of know what their pizza preference is, so we have that pizza dinner. We know how many pepperoni, how many sausages, how many cheese that we need to order, okay? Each student will get, each person will get about 3 pieces each, okay? And so we just need to know how many of each to order. Be looking for that email later this week. It'll be on a Google Doc, just like your order for, for the cast dinner thing was, okay? Sorry, I'm losing my mind here.
About the cash, I was just asking if the street food vendors have, they take credit cards. Some do, some don't. So you might want to think about that.
Yeah, have some cash.
Street food vendors are great in New York, so you might want to have a little bit of cash for that.
Yeah. Okay. Next thing, please pay particular attention to this: phone battery packs and chargers. Here's what we have learned, and you have to if you travel. when you are not in our area, your cell phone battery goes down much quicker because it's constantly having to bounce to let phone calls know, hey, I'm not in my home area. You need to bring cell phone chargers. You need to bring 2 or 3 battery packs. I would, to have in your bag or whatever. Because the day you're Smithsonian, you're taking pictures, before you know it, I got 5% power. Okay? Just something to throw out there. Lisa mentioned it to us earlier in a meeting we had with her, that she always takes 2 or 3 herself, and of course, a lot of us adults are on our phone a lot more, communicating and so forth. It's just something to think about. Those little battery packs, you may want to consider investing in some of those to take on the trip. Oh, I'm gonna sit next. It's my pocket. What to pack list, if you look on back of the sheet that I just gave you, I've given you a what to pack list. This is one I've used for about 20 years. Just, I'm one of those guys that I always wait the night before to pack, and then when I'm packing, I'm thinking, what did I forget? What did I forget? And so on my phone, if you look, any trip I ever made, I've got a packing list. Because I always go before I start packing. This is just, you can use it as you want to, but to kind of check off and make sure you thought of everything that you're gonna need. Now, we put this out via email as well. We are asking for some extra for tips, okay? For tips and so forth, and stuff like that we're purchasing here, some other little things. For $30, if you can bring it in cash, put it in the money box, just to help with tips. Yeah, so we need to tip our folks, okay? You with me? Okay, so if you can help get that in by next Monday, March the 9th, $30 cash for tips and extra type stuff that we've had to purchase, that would be awesome. All right? Remind, we've got a remind group for our trip. This is it right here. It may be on the sheet. I think I put it on the sheet as well as the remind thing on the sheet. Okay, it's on your sheet as well. Please join our text group if you want the information of the trip. It is, you text the message at NHS Trip 2020 to 81010, or if that number doesn't work, then the phone number needs to be 850-396-0116. All through the trip, we'll be communicating to the folks on the buses, using the remind text, the rooming list, all that. We're stopping in 20 minutes, start waking everybody up. Curfews at such and such time, and different things such as that. Okay, so if you want to join our remind, that's it right there. Please join the remind text, especially if you're going on the trip, then we need you to join it. 9/11 projects, Mr. Schultz mentioned earlier, they are due on Friday. Don't forget, we're going to be meeting with the students on Monday at 4. Students, our meeting on Monday at 4 is to be talking to you about some of the attractions that are in Washington, New York, so you can start coming up with a game plan. Here's what has bugged us the most in the past. We get to New York City, adults go, where do you want to go? When they go, American Eagle. I'm serious. And we're like, wait, you're in New York. Why do you want to, I want to go to American Eagle. Well, you can go to that and go to the mall. And so we're doing this extra meeting on Monday because we want to start getting you thinking about things to see. I remember a group of young men last time that a couple of our male chaperones had, and they're like, the boys didn't want to do anything. They said, we're going to Grand Central. Why are we going to Grand Central? Okay, they got to Grand Central, the boys were like, wow, this is awesome. But they didn't know what they were missing. You with me? So that's what Monday's meeting is about. We'll be talking about subways and different things such as that at Monday's meeting. Last but not least, are there any questions? Yes, sir. Where they're all kind of expected to be at 10 o'clock, changing the guard between them and the soldier. Okay, he asked, is there an option? We're asking them all to be at the Tomb of the Unknown a little bit before 10. And on Monday, we're going to talk to them about the behavior of the Tomb of the Unknown as well. Okay, guys, if you've never seen the changing of the guard of the Tomb of the Unknown soldier, it is one of the most moving events that you'll ever watch. Okay, other questions that you may have for the benefit of the group. I will be available up here to answer one-on-one questions, but is there anything I haven't covered that you think would help the group that they've heard tonight? Bus drivers, I got a question I can do. The bus drivers are rotated. They're going to swap out in North Carolina. Okay, we'll have what they call leg drivers, and then our real drivers will pick us up up there. Yes, ma'am.
The tip money are they supposed to be tipping for their dinners too? Or
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Well, on their own, yeah. We do. We'll talk about that on Monday as well. Tipping on their own. This is for the folks that are providing us for services. Okay. So we've got that coming out. Okay, and then we cover the issues. Yeah, bills on their own, yeah. The stuff that's already included, okay, the bills are already included, tip and gratuity also included on that, okay? This is for our support personnel, folks who are helping us, so tour guide, and different things like that, okay? Anything else? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention tonight. If you have questions between now and then, please let me know. Remember, we leave next Wednesday night. Banner opens at 7:30. I'll come 8:30. Thank you. Chaperones, don't forget to check the list for tour teams. We'll look forward to that.